Welcome back to the Slasher Siblings podcast. I'm your co-host Cicely,
And I'm your host, Hayden.
and today we are talking about Haunted Mansion.
Remake 2023.
2023 comes out tomorrow,
Technically.
technically.
Well, we got the early
Early
release.
release screening. We went in and said, "Hey,
Can we see Haunted Mansion for the podcast?
we're Slasher Sibs.
You know us,
We're the
right?
Slasher Sibs." They said, "Oh yeah,
Yeah, of course. We got
Oh, yeah.
royalty.
oh yeah, get back here. We'll show for you."
No, they had no idea who we were.
Yeah,
But
there were
we
a bunch
still
of
went.
people in the theater.
Yeah.
They
we
did
still,
not know they were amongst celebrities.
Yeah, exactly.
They had no fucking
How
idea.
dare they?
Anyway, came out tomorrow. It's rated PG-13, even though they do say the word pissed. Is that a bad word?
Not technically. We should mention that we're recording this on Thursday. And it comes out tomorrow, meaning Friday.
Yes. So by the time you're listening, it's out, babe. Go
Yeah.
watch it.
Yep.
2 hours and 2 minutes.
It didn't feel like that.
It did not. It was good. It got a 5.9 out of 10 on IMDb.
Not fair.
Not fair. It's about a single mom named Gabby who hires a tour guide, a psychic, a priest, and a historian to help exorcise her newly bought mansion. Sorry, I was like, exercise. And then my brain was like, they're working out
Yeah.
to help exercise in, like, exorcism, guys, in case your brain works like
You.
scrambled eggs like mine. Her newly bought mansion after discovering it is inhabited by ghosts.
Fair enough. I don't think 5.9 is fair. But we'll get into that at the end. Do you have anything you want to say? Before.
Easy watch.
Yes, it was an easy
Yeah.
watch.
Sitting there for 2 hours was not hard to do. It's really good. I would watch it, guys. I'd
Yeah.
watch it, Squad Gang.
So, our mom actually got the last question right, the people
Did
under
she?
the stairs one. So shout out to
Did
Mom.
she watch that movie?
Maybe. Must have. Probably. Who knows? We don't know.
Okay.
Anyway, she was the one that got the question
Cool.
right. So shout out, Mom.
Yow. Your mom.
I will read this question now. What does the green liquid contain in the 1987 film Prince of Darkness? Top one. Top.
Am I reading the answer?
Yeah.
I was going to say, I read that last week.
Yeah.
Okay. The essence of Satan.
If you got it, good job. If not, nice
Sorry.
try. But she will read the next question at the end for you, and we will get into the Haunted Mansion. So, there's some stuff I want to talk about, because I actually really enjoyed this movie.
I'm reading the one underneath it.
Not yet. At the end.
Oh, sorry.
At the end. So I want to talk about the opening to it with the Foolish Mortals thing.
Uh-huh.
So this is obviously a remake of the one with Eddie Murphy. Now I'll just start off by saying that I really like the original with Eddie Murphy. It's a really good movie.
Yeah.
And it got a 5.1.
Really?
Which is stupid.
I like the original a lot, too.
Yeah, they're both good. But they brought back the classic opening where she's saying, the ghost is saying, "Oh, foolish mortals, join me inside the mansion," or whatever, which was so cool to hear again after all these years.
Uh-huh.
And it was really, it's kind of menacing, that voice.
His voice was like, I was like, I don't like that guy.
Jared Leto did a great job.
Uh-huh.
Jared Leto was the voice of the Hatbox Ghost, for anybody that didn't know. I thought that the flirting at the bar between Ben and his wife,
That was cute.
that was really funny. He was like, he's like doing all this science explaining of his job, and she's like, so you make people see what they can't see, or something like that.
Yeah.
I was like, that's funny. And
She
then
said same.
same. I show people ghosts and stuff. I thought that was really cool and really funny. Ben's humor, I really enjoyed a lot. And that also extends into the next scene where he's like a depressed tour guide, and he was talking about what he's like, all right, I'm gonna read off some names, and all I need to hear is HERE and nothing else.
Yeah.
And he calls out the first name. He's like, oh, that's me, present. I was an accountant for 50 years. I don't care.
I don't care. I was like, oh.
That was excellent. He was so well done, and a lot of the comedy in this movie was.
It was pretty funny.
Yeah, it was pretty funny, well placed.
There
was a lot of comedy, but it was definitely
not like too much.
There wasn't too much.
Just right.
Just right, and where it was supposed to be serious, it was serious. They weren't trying to.
I really liked this movie.
Yeah, it was
a
good.
lot more than I thought I was going to.
Exactly. I thought it was going to be like all the recent remakes of Disney movies that wasn't going to do very well.
It was so good.
It was. And then we'll talk about the scene where they enter the house for the first time. Gabby and Travis. They go into the house for the first time, and he's like, this place is haunted, yo.
Yeah.
And she's like, no, it's fine.
Yep.
And then the suit of armor pops up behind Travis, and she's like, yeah, we're out. And they just take off running. That was such a good display of introducing the house not only to us as viewers, but to them too. Because it's been haunted for a long time.
Oh yeah.
But it's just a matter of how they found out. But they casted very well for this movie, I thought.
They did.
All of them, really. Danny DeVito was also in it, so which was very funny. We'll get to him too. And then there's Kent talking to Ben. He's talking him into going into the house, and he's like, oh, you want to be a hero, don't you? No, I don't.
No.
It was just, he's like, well, they're willing to pay $2,000. What's the address?
Yeah.
It was so funny because you could tell. Okay, so at the beginning of the movie, you didn't quite know. If you're listening to this podcast and you plan on seeing the movie, obviously spoiler warning. You should have known that before listening to this episode.
Don't listen to this if
you want to go see it first. But in the beginning, it made you think oh, they broke up or something, and he's still really upset about it, blah, blah, blah. And you could obviously tell that he was super depressed.
Yeah. I felt really bad for
I
his
felt
character.
horrible for him for the whole movie.
Yeah.
Well, the end, he, got out of his funk, which was good. But yeah, it was really, he was really depressed this whole movie, and you could tell that. But the little added humor in there where he was like, yeah, so what's the address? That, the little...
He was like, yeah, I can make $2,000 right now.
Yeah, the little jokes were really funny. I thought they were really well placed in serious scenes. But it was also funny that Owen Wilson's character, Father Kent, showed up and was like, hey, I know you're an expert. Let's just, go take some pictures and then, calm this family down a little bit,
Yeah.
And he's like, so you want to be a hero? No, I don't. And he's talking to him, and he's trying to give him reasons to go do it. And he's like, no, I don't want to do it. No, I don't want to do it. And he's like, yeah, money always talks. Their interaction was really well done. I liked
both of them in the movie.
And then there's the scene where Ben's meeting the family, Gabby and Travis, and he's meeting the house for the first time. I thought it was really funny because the battery in his camera was dead. He has a camera that can see ghosts. No, he created it because he was basically a rocket scientist, and he created this camera that could take pictures of ghosts. And the battery's dead when he shows up to the house, and then he he starts just pretending to take pictures, and he's just he's making noises.
He's not even really doing it.
No. And he's like, yep, no ghosts. and he's
That's
just
it.
like scribbling random words on the notepad.
He's doodling.
And it's just funny how he's just like there for the money.
Uh-huh.
And he's kind of scamming them in a way. But then he gets the scam of a lifetime when in the next scene he's being haunted at home by the sea captain.
It's the last portrait he looked at before he walked out. And I don't know if you noticed this during the movie, but his eyes moved and looked at him.
Yeah.
He was like, what?
What? He like
What
shook
just
his head.
happened?
Yeah, he's like, I didn't just see
And
that.
so that guy followed him home.
And talked him into coming back to the house.
Yep.
So that was pretty trippy, seeing like he opened the front door and like the sea, pushed him back in.
Uh-huh.
Or he opened the bedroom door rather. And like it was just weird that the way the sea captain was haunting him was with like the ocean, trying to convince him to go back to the house. And it was really cool.
I didn't love it.
No, you didn't love it. You hate the ocean, but it was just really cool.
The door, like his apartment door opened and all you saw was the ocean. I was like, oh my god, that's my worst nightmare.
Yeah, it was pretty wild to see that happen to him like that. And it was really cool. But everyone returns to the house. So that's Kent. That's, Gabby and Travis were obviously there. Ben came back and everyone was together. They're trying to figure out what they need to do. He's there with his camera. He needs to go take pictures of the ghosts, see what they're dealing with, try to figure out how to help them, stuff like that. But then Father Kent realized that they have to assemble a team of people to stop
a squad gang
to stop the ghosts. So I want to talk about them assembling the dream team.
Yep.
Scene. They called it the dream team. It was, like you said, it was the family. It was Ben, Father Kent, Medium, and the professor, which was played by Danny DeVito, which he was excellent. They were all excellent.
Yeah,
everyone
were good.
They casted in this movie was excellent. But they go around assembling the dream team, which is absolutely hilarious because each person gets their time to shine on the screen.
Uh-huh.
And they go to like Bruce, the professor, and he's like, if you're here about your grades, get out or I'm going to deduct you. He's like, no, we're not here about my grades. I don't even go here. He's like, but about this house. And then like they go to dinner. Hibachi, and he's flipping food in Danny DeVito's mouth. He's catching
broccoli in his mouth.
And then he's talking about, 60 years ago, blah, blah, blah. And like giving a history about the house, which is really cool. And then the medium, played by Tiffany Haddish, was like, oh, do you know a guy named Gary? Geraldine? Like guessing all these names. You met a woman named Gabby, didn't you? And it was like, the first couple names were just guesses.
That one was real.
That one was true. So did she actually have these powers, or did she,
Yeah.
is she still coming to term with her psychic powers or what? Like, but it was really cool. She got her time to shine, and it was really funny. She was funny as, the medium.
Yeah,
she was
just funny in general.
Yeah.
Too.
And so, they tell Bruce not to come because he has a heart problem. He's like, this is going to be too much. You're going to end up dying. Let's not do that. And so yeah, they leave Bruce behind later to show up later. But they take the medium, and then she doesn't believe anything. And they're researching the house and whatnot, and she leaves. She's like, why didn't you tell me that they were gonna make me come back here and all this other stuff? And that scene was really funny.
Yeah, everyone who came into the house and left was basically
haunted to come back.
Forced back.
Yeah. And the scene where they're researching the house, they're like looking at the blueprints, and they're trying to figure out like this. You know what? I'll just talk about it. The next scene where they're talking about the seance room. And they couldn't find it because it wasn't on the blueprint. And they're looking and they realize there's a hidden room somewhere. So they find it, they open it, and they go into the seance room and they start talking to the ghosts. And they start saying, like, hey, you need to find Madame Leota, which was really cool because she's the head in the crystal ball. Yeah. So it was really cool that they mentioned her for her yet to be seen, but it was really cool that, you know, like these kind of callbacks to the original movie and whatnot. And the seance room was really cool. And how they did that little seance to talk to the ghosts, that was really interesting. And they had this, it was really funny by Tiffany, the way Tiffany Haddish did this part, but she's like taking the seance seriously, and then she goes, if you have anything to say, please write it on this notepad that I got from CVS. And it was just, it was her so delivery funny that made that so funny. And it was really cool to see, you know, the ghost pick up the pen. Like the pen was writing while the ghost, you couldn't see the ghost, and he took a picture and saw Mr. Gracie, the owner of the house, before he died. And it was really well done the way they did the ghost in Living World type thing. It's Disney, so they had a lot of, you know, money to spare, and it was the conversating with the ghosts, like go talk to Madame Leota, and then they kicked the ghosts out and scared them out of the seance room and stuff. And then that's when we start to find out about Ben's wife. He's like, hey, you can actually do this for real. You know, it's not a joke. Can you help me talk to my wife? That's when we realize that she's actually dead. They're not broken up. She's dead. He takes her ring off a necklace and was like, I want to talk to my wife. And his delivery in that scene was pretty upsetting, but that's not the most upsetting part of this movie. It's still yet to come. And then the chairs, kicking them out, was absolutely hilarious.
Oh yeah, the chairs they were sitting on just flung them out of the house.
It was like they were on little go-karts.
Little go-kart chairs, yeah.
And it was like going down the stairs. It was so funny. The chair literally just scooted them out and threw them out. And then Bruce showed up, Danny DeVito's character, and he walked in the doorway, and then it immediately kicked him out. The house is trying to keep them.
They took him even further.
Yeah, even further. Yeah, right into the middle of the street trying to get hit by a truck.
Oh, yeah, he did get hit by a truck.
Almost.
I thought, well, he ended up in the...
Well, he has that heart problem.
Oh, that's why.
They took him to get checked out because the truck saw him in the middle of the...
And stopped, okay.
Yeah. So maybe thought he was suicidal or something, but it was like 10 seconds of Bruce being in the house that he immediately got kicked out because they don't want them talking to Madame Leota because obviously she's going to help them. And but the next scene is the scene with they're discussing their trauma. And this isn't really the scene where he talks about the wife's death yet, so it's not the most upsetting scene, but they're discussing like, hey, we both, you know, have stuff going on, we're both, you know, feeling shitty. That's probably why, you know, I have so much grief, and my wife died in a car accident. Or did he say that yet?
Yeah. Well,
he did?
At this point in the movie?
I don't think he did. I think they were talking about it.
Yeah.
So we at least understand that, like, some of the people, you know, are affected by stuff in the past. And then there's the graveyard scene, which was really cool.
Yeah.
He goes out the back of the house, and well, he was following Alyssa, his wife, her ghost. Her fake ghost.
Yeah, it wasn't her.
It wasn't actually her. but it was the Hatbox Ghost trying to lure him because he was the soul that he needed, the final soul that he needed.
Yep.
So he wanted to try and get him to willingly give up his soul. And he's going out the back door, and there's just all these ghosts standing around. And the ghost dog was cool. He was like...
The ghost dog was sweet.
And like the top half of the ghost dog was normal.
Yeah.
But his rib cage down was like a skeleton.
It was kind of cute.
It was pretty cool. It was like I think it was like a golden lab or something.
No, it was like a coonhound.
Was it?
Yeah.
But it was still really cool to see. It was just like half skeleton, half normal.
Cute.
It was awesome.
He was howling.
And yeah, he was. And then he got the idea to go up into the attic, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah.
And so he goes up into the attic. They're looking for an item of the Hatbox Ghost so they can stop him from taking the last soul and becoming all powerful or whatever. And so he goes up into the attic, which was a very cool scene. The door shuts behind him. It was one of those ladder doors from the ceiling. And it shuts up behind him so he can't get back down. And then he goes over to the mirror, and it's displaying him in the mirror as headless.
That was
which was,
freaky.
yeah, very freaky. And then like up in the top left corner of the screen, you could see the ghost behind him. But like you couldn't... If you weren't like looking... you wouldn't really see it. I don't know how I saw it. I just like saw this face, and I like looked up, and it was the ghost, the bride ghost or whatever. Which that was all really cool. The bride ghost chased him around with an axe, and
she killed all 5 of her husbands.
Killed all 5 of her husbands with an axe. Chopped them up.
Go girl!
And she was trying to chop him up too, in the attic.
Yeah.
And he found this trunk. And he took it down and fell down the stairs, and the axe came between his legs, stuck in the floor, and he started screaming like a little girl. It was funny.
It was really
funny. So then this scene, after finding the trunk, they open it, and what do you know? Madame Leota's stuff is in there. So they find the book, the powerful book or whatever, the seance book and stuff, but they untie this rug. And what do you think's in the rug? The crystal ball with Madame Leota in it.
Wasn't it a sack?
It could have been a sack, but it kind of looked like a rug or a curtain to me, maybe.
It looked like those little bags they put Crown Royal in.
It kind of did, yeah.
Didn't it?
It really did. And yeah, so it was Madame Leota though, and they have their missing piece to stop the Hatbox Ghost from getting its 1000th soul and becoming all powerful and escaping the house and stuff. So then there's the next scene. Right after finding Madame Leota, she's telling them what they need to do. You know, they have to find a piece of the hat, or head, really, or any piece of his possession, the Hatbox Ghost's possession, in order to stop him. And the next scene, they're having breakfast. And it's just hilarious that the ghosts are messing with like the eggs and screwing the top off the garlic.
Yeah.
As she's cooking it, and dropping the eggs into the pan, and she took the eggs over to the table for everyone to eat, and she goes, "Just pick around the shells." And
crunchy scrambled eggs.
Yeah, the medium was like, "Oh, they're just crunchy scrambled eggs." And she goes over to the window with Travis playing outside. And she seems like a helicopter mom. Which his dad's not around anymore, so you don't really understand why she's so protective at this point, because we haven't heard anything about his father except that he misses his father and stuff. So he steps on this stoop, and it's maybe a foot in the air, probably not even that.
Yeah, not even.
And she's like, "Oh, he's gonna fall and break his ankle." She's like knocking on the window, and he's like, "It's okay, calm down. I'll go talk to him." And Ben goes out and talks to him, and they're bonding over superheroes, and like, Travis says my dad wants me to come visit him, and it would make my mom really upset if I did, so let's just not tell her. Which was kind of nice that the son was like, I don't want to tell her and make her think that I don't want to be here with her, stuff like that. So it was kind of sweet to see Travis care about his mom that way. But in the next scene, they go and do the astral projection. The medium was like, oh, I can do a reverse seance so well. I've done it 1,000 times. I might have done it 10,000 times. And then Danny DeVito's character was like, now I just don't believe you. Why did you jump that high? Like, it was so funny. Their interaction in this movie was just so funny. But Ben, so one of the things that you needed for astral projection in the movie was that you needed to be really raw and emotional. And Ben's whole thing, this whole movie, is that he has huge grief because of his wife's death. We just found out, but we didn't find out why or how she died yet. But he, was the one to actually get out of his body and was walking around looking for the reason why this is all happening. And he found Gracie thinking that he would be the reason behind everything. We found out he's not. And that's when he meets the Hatbox Ghost for the very first time. And which was really cool. The walking around, the limping with the cane, and then like his face in the lantern. That was really cool. That was awesome. And he comes back to his body, but that butler ghost took over his body, which was really creepy. Yeah, it was wild. And he's like saying all this stuff, and Travis is like, that's not Ben. That's not him. And like the bell and the sage knocked him out of the body before Ben came back, and he was being chased by the Hatbox Ghost with the head in the lantern. It was just, or the head in the hat box. It was just so cool. It was really cool to see. But the very next scene is when we actually learn how his wife died. And it goes into really, not gruesome, but like really upsetting detail of like, they had a fight. She just wanted to go get tater tots. Yeah. Well, at first he was explaining like, she was the slowest runner. She was the best person. And like, she walked up to me saying, I want to go for a run while eating a Philly cheesesteak. And it was really sweet, and then it turned bad where he started talking about how she died in a car accident, saying we had a fight. All she wanted to do was go get tater tots, and I told her no, and I was really frustrated because I had so much work to do, and I told her just to go because I have so much work, and that's when, she died in a car accident, and she died before I could tell her. I don't know if she died without knowing that I loved her. They're reassuring him like, no, she knew. Trust me, she knew. And then Bruce was like, man, I can't imagine the cholesterol in this girl. Yeah. Philly cheesesteak, tater tots, Baskin Robbins ice cream. And it kind of cheered him up a little bit, which was really nice. And it shows like how much they're bonding over this experience.
Oh yeah, it seems like they got really close during all this. Yeah, they did.
And then they go to the police station.
That was so funny.
That was hilarious. And they're in the police station. He's like, yeah, my friend got robbed and he's really traumatic, so we need to draw a sketch. And they're explaining how to draw the Hatbox Ghost. And obviously you can't tell the sketch artist it's a ghost. They had to make up the lie. And it was Danny DeVito explaining the smile. And he dried his teeth and put his lip up.
That was so funny.
That part killed me. And then when the drawing was done, he turned it around and it was an amazing drawing. And Ben's like, you just did that right now?
Yeah.
Holy crap, that's really good.
He said, it'd be really interesting? That, but with skin. So he drew it twice.
It was so funny. That scene was probably the funniest in the movie.
Yeah, it was really good.
It was really good comedic movie while being serious at the same time. And then they get stuck in the room, and it's like the Disney ride where it stretches. And at Disney, the room actually stretches in the ride, the Haunted Mansion ride.
Yeah.
Which was really cool to kind of see that reference in the movie. It was really...
It did do that. I was like, oh.
It was really
It's
like...
stretch it.
I don't know. It was just cool to see that they referenced it like that. That's all I really wanted to say about the scene. But they're escaping the house. So in the stretching room, they had to climb up the walls to get out. And then they get out of the house, and Kent's already out there. He's like, hey, I'd come out to my car for 5 minutes, and now I can't get back in. And it was like, well, lucky you're out there, because they needed help anyway. And then they show up to the manor, because that's what I think the ghost told him. He had a house, right?
Yeah, that he had a house, and he had to get a possession from the house.
Yes. So they find out he had a manor that wasn't very far north, maybe an hour. So they run up there, and they join the tour, which Winona Ryder was the tour guide.
Yeah.
She was completely unexpected. Her name didn't show up in the beginning, so I wasn't expecting her to be in the movie. It was just really cool to see her. And they're going around touring the place, and Ben keeps asking, was this actually his? Like, his actual one? She's like, no. Everything in the house was not his. It was just replicas. And that's when they start talking to the sea captain ghost. And they're like, what can we do for you? We'll make a deal. If you help us, we'll help you.
Yeah.
And he said, get me to the sea. All the ghost wanted to do was be at sea, because he's a captain. He's a sea captain. And it was like, oh yeah, we can definitely do that. Like, that's like the easiest ask ever. Just take a ghost to the sea, let him go, whatever.
Bye.
And the ghost took them to a little secret passage, and the only person that could fit was Travis. So he goes down there, and guess what was down there? His top hat. And for people that may not know from, the original lore and stuff, was that the Hatbox Ghost was decapitated. So he picked up his hat, and his skull was there. They never found his head. In the movie, they never found his head. They just found his body. And it was really cool to see, like...
They found his head.
They found his head. After all these years of looking for it, they finally found it. And they took the hat back to the house. But then when they get back to the house, and that's when Kent admitted that he was a fraud, that he wasn't actually a priest. And he's like, I just put this on so I could pretend to do some exorcisms, throw holy water around, get paid, and go home. And it was a really sobering moment when Ben, said, hey, like, you helped me a lot. And he turns his line back around on, like, do you want to be a hero? He goes, dang it, my own line's coming back to haunt me.
Yeah.
And that's what gets him back in. He just says, the same thing that he said to him.
He got him motivated.
Yeah. But Ben is no longer the soul that he wants. He has his willing soul in Travis, who desperately wants to see his father, which we now just learned that his father's dead. So he's using his father against him to get his soul, which is a really...
I'm surprised he fell for it, too.
I know, but it was such a big twist.
Yeah, I didn't expect that either.
And then there was the scene where Travis is trying to go see his dad. His dad's calling him, and he's like, this way, come this way, and we'll be together and stuff. And he goes down to the basement, and there's this light that's obviously going to take Travis's soul and kill him under the guise of his father. And then Ben comes to the rescue and saying, like, hey, that's not your dad. Your dad wouldn't want you to, be dead. He would want you to live and stuff like that, which it's good to see that Ben was able to bring him back. It showed, the bond between those two as well. And then there's the stopping the Hatbox Ghost. So Kent, you know, bonded with the ghost and told him, like, hey, like, he's awful to you too. You realize that, right? Like, he doesn't care about you. He's gonna get what he wants, and he was using you guys this whole time. Like, it's kind of screwed up. You need to come and help us stop him. And they realize, yeah, we do. And then they stop the Hatbox Ghost. They send him back down to hell, I guess. I don't know where he would, or back into the astral plane.
Yeah.
And with the possession, the little piece of his hat that was left. And then it starts into the happy ending for everyone. It's showing all the ghosts are happy. Some of them went to the astral side. Some of them stayed in the mansion, and they're, you know, dancing in the ballrooms. Celebrating. And then, you know, everyone goes seemingly their separate ways. Ben goes back home, and you know, Kent goes and he takes his wife's stuff for a donation and stuff like that. And this is where, okay, we do have to explain something. Is that when in the scene where I was talking about they are explaining their trauma to each other, it was to the medium. The medium was saying, like, hey, my father passed away and he was really into model trains. And the days that I have my lowest, where I'm very depressed and I'm at my lowest of lows, I'll randomly just hear the noise of a train. And I know that's my father telling me that he's just saying hi, that it's okay. And they called it Ghost Winks. Ghost Winks. This is where we see the cat that's been showing up on Ben's porch every day, all the time, desperately wanting to get into the house, has the name Tater Tot.
Tater Tot.
That's his wife's ghost wink. The cat was his ghost, was her ghost wink, named Tater Tot.
The tag around and said Tater Tot.
That was the.
I couldn't handle it.
No, and he like turns around and he's like looking up at the sky, and man,
that was so cute.
And then it was the final scene of the movie. It's the ghost dance scene where everyone comes back to the house, meaning Kent, so on and so forth, Ben. And the ghosts are all dancing around for dinner, and the conga dancers are kicking their legs, and everyone's just so happy. All the ghosts are all living together in happiness and all this stuff. And it was just a very happy ending to the movie. And to be honest with you, it was a pretty upsetting movie. There were some serious moments that like had me wanting to tear up. And I could, you know, that feeling in your throat when you want to cry. I was getting that feeling.
When I saw
like,
Tater Tot, dude, my eyes instantly like watered up. I was like, don't fucking cry right here in this movie theater. Stop it.
And yeah, it was a very good movie.
It was really good. I really liked it.
All of you need to go see it. If you're listening to this before watching the movie, go see it.
Go watch it. And if you did, let us know.
Let us know what you thought.
Because we're very happy with it.
Because it was an excellent movie.
I'm definitely going to watch it again.
Yeah, it was great. What would you rate it?
Oh, like a 8.5.
I gave it an 8. Not a 5.9.
No. And it just came out to like...
Yeah, give it some time. There was only 400 reviews on IMDb.
So
it's usually in the thousands, like 10,000 sometimes. But like... It was definitely better than 5.9. I gave it an 8. You gave it an 8.5. It's definitely a must-go-see. But real quick, before we sign out, I'm going to give you a couple facts. There's only 15 trivia. Most of them are like a paragraph, so I'm not going to read the big ones. But a couple of the cool ones I had was that this movie has been a concept of Guillermo del Toro since 2010. Comic-Con of 2010. So he's been wanting to make this movie for 13 years. And there is one in here that he said that the screenplay was really hard to crack. Because, I mean, it makes sense. You know, the screenplay is pretty tough when you're working with things that aren't there. But to do this the right way, to where people aren't going to trash and hate it, is even harder. Yeah. Especially when it's like a remake of a movie.
Even harder, because it has higher expectations.
Disney reportedly wants to reboot the film, which is why they made it, because it's seen as potential to have the Pirates of the Caribbean series. Like, it has potential to be that kind. Like, they can make multiples.
Yeah, gotcha.
And which, speaking of Pirates of the Caribbean, to date has earned more than $4.5 billion at the global box office. That's insanity.
That's insane.
But Disney believes that the Haunted Mansion, because the ride is so beloved, that they could make a series out of this. They probably aren't expecting $4.5 billion from Haunted Mansion, but they could. I would watch a couple more movies.
Yeah.
I would definitely watch more movies.
I would too.
Especially if they try to get the same cast to come back. If it's like a different cast every movie, it's probably not going to do as well. Because they did really nail the cast in this one.
Yeah, they really did.
This movie was set to release 20 years after the first one, the Eddie Murphy one, 2003 to 2023.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, which is kind of
cool.
wild, isn't it?
That made me feel old.
Because I remember watching it as a kid, you know.
Yeah.
20 years ago.
So do I.
I was 8.
I was just 4, so no bigs. No bigs.
Guillermo del Toro is quoted as, "The result is a unique combination of dark and fun, and wants to really honor those two sensibilities," which it does really perfectly do, both dark and fun.
Yeah, definitely.
Because it was definitely creepy. There was some dark scenes about like his wife's death and
grieving
the father
and
grieving and stuff, but it was also very funny when it was funny.
Yeah, it was really good.
It wasn't
mixture of everything.
It wasn't like forced jokes or forced comedy or anything like that. I thought it was really well done between the two. This is the third adaptation based on The Haunted Mansion, after The Haunted Mansion of 2003 and Muppets Haunted Mansion of 2021.
Ah.
And that was my final one, but this is the third and great movie, honestly. And if you are listening to this before watching it, you're going to have to go see it.
Yeah, for sure.
It was great. It was actually very, very, very good.
I agree.
So, this will be the last episode before vacation. So, we will be on vacation by the time the next episode comes out, but we're going to try to record 2 episodes because we won't be here for 2 Saturdays.
We can do it.
We're going to try to record Jaws and Alien are the 2 movies that we're going to be recording before vacay. But don't worry, we'll have episodes for you.
Yeah, we'll get it done.
And as soon as this movie or this episode is released, I will put next month's movies on Facebook.
The schedule.
So the very next episode is Jaws, celebrating Shark Week that ends. It actually ends on Sunday, which is upsetting because I love Shark Week.
Did you watch any of Shark Week?
I've watched every day.
Have you?
Yes. Jason Momoa is
You know what I've been watching? Hey girlies, are you guys watching Love Island or what?
No.
Every night, new episode except Hump Day. Wednesday.
I have been watching Shark Week. It's
I'm on
Jason
my Love
Momoa.
Island shit. Too hot to handle. No Love is Blind yet. We'll get there.
Anyway, we'll catch you next week with Jaws. And we're going to record 2 episodes next week so we don't miss you over vacation.
Yep, but we will not be here.
We will
be on an island. In the middle. I'm just kidding. We're going to be in Virginia.
We're going to be in Virginia, yep.
So.
Yeah, so we will catch you next week with Jaws. Real quick, read the question.
Almost forgot.
Almost
You
forgot.
thought we were going to forget. You thought, is it the top one?
No,
wait.
You just read the top.
Oh my god. An investigator ends up on a Scottish island where the inhabitants have an unhealthy obsession with sexuality in this 1973 film. I've seen that one.
Yes.
This could be a very easy guessing one.
This is a good one. So yeah, we will catch you next week with Jaws, celebrating Shark Week. Shark Week! Catch you next week.
Catch you later.